Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
From the approval of 2.8 billion naira approved by the Anambra State government for the empowerment of youth that are going to be trained on various skills under the One Youth, Two Skills program. A lot of people in Anambra State are already conversant with that term, One Youth, Two Skills. It's been on ground for quite a while now, and the government of Professor Charles Chiguma Soludo is not taking it lightly. He's doing everything possible to make sure that a lot of Anambrarians have not just the skills, but the capital needed to kickstart their own businesses in a bid to reduce the rate of unemployment in the state, and of course to reduce the rate of poverty in the state, down to other political matters arising from different parties in the country, and of course different parts of the country. Different stakeholders saying different things. Yesterday, Senator Natasha Akpoti attempted to get into the National Assembly, and she was stopped by security operatives. All of those and more we are going to look into right here on today's edition of the Polity. Good morning to you and welcome. My name is Chisom Chinedu. I have the analyst in the building, Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki, the Ogada Gidi one of Osumohu. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning to you, Chisom Chinedu. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, in Danambara, in Onitsha, Donidu. Anywhere you are listening to us from, it's always a pleasure to remember what we do here. We do justice to issues presented before us, and also say good morning to God Almighty, the maker of heaven and earth, for making us to be here. And also we understand the rains are everywhere, and that's the season. What we do is to look at the issues. I know those who may be listening to us may have a political sentiment on our own, is to look at it from every angle and juxtapose issues the way they should be juxtaposed and make something out of it. You're welcome.
All right, then, of course, we are going to first see what the front pages of the newspaper say, and from there we are going to dive into the analysis. And so on our desk this morning, there is a Nation, Vanguard, Punch, and The Guardian newspapers. Starting with the front page of the Nation newspaper, banner headline: APC, PDP kickstart 2027 plans with key NEC meetings. The writers on this story, Ganduje's replacement standing committee top ruling party agenda. PDP pushes for cohesion after Atiku others exit. Above the nameplate of the paper, Attorney General Fagbe Miza office denies government stake in First Holdco PLC, calls this day and Arise reports malicious. Natasha supporters create scene at National Assembly entrance on page 3. President to inaugurate cancer centers in Katsina, Benin and Soka on page 2. Adeleke Onyilola Oshun PDP leaders back Tinubu's re-election on page 4. Okpeblo reviews a line with a door line with 100 buses on page 4. Tony, you saw the video. And the statements that came from that particular event. We're going to take a look at that much later on the show. Senate fumes over Ojulari's absence on page 3. CBN, 8 banks meet recapitalization threshold. The riders, MPC retains interest rate, other parameters. Apex Bank targets single-digit inflation. Eastern Rail Line project gets $3 million vote in $21 billion external borrowing plan on page 3. Over to the Vanguard newspaper, where we see drama. It's actually started with resumption bid. Drama at Senators Natasha security agents clash. On page 5, the riders, Senator walks to Nas premises on foot after stoppage of her convoy. Blocked from accessing main building. I will approach appeal court to seek interpretation of legal impasse. Akwachi Dwaha. Activist Aisha Yusufu battles police overall in stopping senator. We acted on orders from above. Security agents have that to say. A reconsidered planned trip to Nigeria. U.S. tells citizens on page 8. Warns of kidnapping, terrorism, poor healthcare, others. Senate approves 2025-26 external borrowing plan of $21.5 billion on page 8. And of course, on the sports column, Mission X, Nigeria dethrones South Africa. Heading over to the Punch newspaper, Dangote exports 1.3 billion liters of petrol as marketers buy foreign fuel on page 29. APC may pick Ganduja's successor as make or break neck meeting. This is on page 2. Almakura Yilwata, Dalori top race lobbying thickens. North Central demand slot, Constitution review on neck agenda. Also, Israeli protest in Tel Aviv over Gaza food shortages on page 2. Article 1 as Okpebolo, Wike insists on Obi's visit clearance on page 7. Natasha heads to court after Senate blockade on page 3. ADC balls over Tinubu's endorsement by Adeleke. Well, you know, Latoni, you saw that video. This on page 7 would definitely get to see or hear what you think about that development pretty soon. But we are heading to The Guardian, where we see the AGF's office denies government stake in First Holdco PLC, calls this day, and Arise reports malicious. This is quite a campaign to prove whatever point the AGF is trying to make here. Nigeria loses $18 billion to multinationals, tax evasion yearly on page 5. 210 trillion naira scandal. Senate accuses an MPCLG CEO of defiance, gives 24 hours ultimatum on page 5. Benue killings, 3,160 displaced, 48 homes destroyed, says FG on page 30. Also, suspense as Tinubu. APC neck meet over zoning new chairman on page 6. Senate approves Tinubu's $21.8 billion loan plan, 758 billion naira pension bond amid soaring debt concerns. That ICC renovation and renaming of public assets, editorial page 12 here. Reps consider restricting politicians and families to public hospitals and schools on page 3. Isn't that laughable? Do you see them doing this? I mean, they are the most guilty of this entire charade of what's it called, medical tourism and education tourism. Stakeholders warn of setback for Nigeria, Africa as US exits UNESCO on page 6. Tension as security operatives deny Natasha access to National Assembly. Find this on page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. And of course, we are starting with one of the most recurring stories on our bulletins this morning, which is what happened yesterday at the Senate House, where Senator Natasha Akpoti was denied entrance. The suspended lawmaker representing Kogi Central on the platform of the PDP, Senator Natasha Akpoti Udala, clashed with security agents at the National Assembly complex yesterday while attempting to resume legislative duties. The senator was suspended for 6 months by the Senate leadership for refusing to take the seat assigned to her by Senate President Godswill Akpabio at plenary. She challenged the action in court, which said the Senate was excessive in slamming a 6-month suspension on her and pronounced her recall. Also, yesterday night, I was listening to the Senate's minority person speaking on an interview, and he said a couple of things to Tony. I think it was just a reiteration of things you've said before, the statements made in passing and the actual pronouncements of the judge in the judgment being two different things. What are the things the judge has asked Natasha to do before her reinstatement? The question is, has she done that? She's appealed some part of it, I was made to understand, and until then, does she have any right to come back to the Senate House? I mean, until this appeal is decided on.
I think the way Natasha is going about the whole thing is quite dramatic, and that shows the level of immaturity we have seen her displayed in this saga. She is just making fun out of the whole thing from the way I'm observing the whole thing. For her, it's going to be a fun or merriment. She knew quite well that she would not be allowed into the National Assembly complex. She knew very well. And when she got there, she was resisted by the policemen. And, normally she is someone who is histrionic. Histrionic is somebody who always wants attention, who wants to be talked about, who wants publicity. That's Natasha for you. Whatever she does, what she's interested more is the publicity aspect of whatever she does. Immediately after that incident, she rushed to Arise Television and others, private televisions to express her concerns about what happened. I'm aware that she arrived at the National Assembly complex with a convoy of SUVs and a bus accompanied by Aisha Yusufu and several supporters. I'm aware that security operatives, including the DSS, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and even sergeants at arms, and even the police being the leading security outfit there, they have been significantly reinforced at both outer and inner gates of the assembly. After being blocked at the outer gate, Natasha exited the vehicle and walked approximately 900 meters towards the inner gate, and she was again stopped at the locked inner gate. Supporters chanted and attempted to push through, but no avail. I have been to the National Assembly, so I understand the premises and how that place is as well. Immediately, she spoke to supporters and the reporters, and also reaffirming that she acted based on 2 formal letters, according to her, which she had written to notify the Senate of her intention to resume duties, and cited a court ruling by Justice Binta Nyako. And she described the heavy-handed security presence, armed policemen charging at an armed female senator as unjustifiable. I'm just trying to look at some of the statements she made. But Yemi Aderemodu, the Senate spokesman, maintained that she remains suspended, stating the court did not issue a binding order for her reinstatement. Only, according to Yemi Aderamodu, he said that only non-binding advisory, that the statement is non-binding, it is mere advisory, and criticized Natasha's actions as a film-making skit and breach of order. More like saying that the woman is making skit, or more like doing content for her supporters. But he emphasized that her suspension persists. That's according to Aderamodu.
Well, what Aderamodu actually said had, I was waiting for him to prove, because he was saying something about the certified true copy of the judgment. Whoever has it should counter him. I was waiting for him to probably read out what is in the certified true copy of that judgment. But I also found it rather, would I call it sickening, and quite questionable how Aderamodu started off that conversation. Because when the interviewer asked him some questions, he was acting like a man he was speaking like a man who had a bias and had already picked a side. If I recall, the interviewer asked him about what he thinks about what happened with his colleague. I was like, which colleague? The way he carelessly started off that conversation, I must observe, this is not about gender. But it was quite, it was, I don't know the adjective to use to qualify the way Aderamodu started off that conversation. He sounded so biased.
Definitely, you don't expect him not to sound biased, and you would say rather he exhibited his biasedness so overtly. We know very well that he will be on the side of the Senate president, but he needs to act maturely and also professionally.
Simple.
He needs to act professionally. You don't.
He was sounding like a person exchanging words with a market woman.
But the point remains that the Nigerian National Assembly has turned into a theater of actors and actresses, and they have been doing so. Just yesterday, 21 billion they approved for Mr. President, $21 billion, and then I'm not talking about the European, the euros, the Japanese yens, and so many other things. That is a part of the borrowing plan. You know what is $21 billion? But that's, by the way, maybe we're going to talk about later on.
Get to that pretty soon.
The issue is this: the Senate has abandoned its role and then its duties in our evolving democracy. The welfare of the people, the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. How have they been able to address this critical area? The Constitution has stipulated that it is the primary duty of any government. Many Nigerians are having challenges. Many are hungry. Many cannot even think of a meal for the whole day. But Senate and then House of Representatives are into film making. The man said Natasha is into film making, but then his reaction and his attitude is also part of the film making. But I will simply advise Natasha, being histrionic is one of the disorders individuals do have. Somebody who wants this attention, publicity, to be known, to be always talked about, is a character. I have condemned the way Amanachi is going about this.
I don't think Natasha's personal character should be on the table for discussion, though.
You know why? Look at what happened yesterday.
Is this about her character or about somebody fighting for her right? Probably not the right way, but she's fighting for her right. And the right of the people she represents.
You don't fight your right that way. You've gone to court.
It may be the wrong way.
But
this is not about her character. It's about fighting for her right.
You must adhere to proper character when you fight for your right. If you fight for your right in a wrong way, you are making mess of the said right. Yeah, that is what it is. Because if you fight for your right in a wrong way, controversial way, acrimonious way, you are making mess of the same right you are fighting for. Let me say this. Justice Binta Nyako has delivered a judgment. Now, the Senate, for whatever reason, decided not to obey the judgment of Justice Binta Nyako, and they have also filed an appeal before the appellate court, but they did not also file stay of execution. So that judgment, as we speak now, is still binding. Is it the duty of Natasha to enforce her own judgment? The answer is no. It's not her work. It is not her responsibility to enforce her judgment. It is also the responsibility of the court to see that her judgment is enforced. What does she need to do? She will go straight back to the same court and file for contempt. Has she done that? For you to come out to enforce a judgment in your own favor, in the way you are doing, it is an act of brigandage. Brigandage, that's what she has resorted to. Go to the same court and file an application that your judgment has been neglected. It was the same contempt that Ababio filed that the court penalized her. That when the court made a pronouncement that nobody should make further statement on this matter before us, pending the determination of the issue at hand, she went and wrote satirical letter. What did Ababio do? Ababio came back to the same court and filed contempt, telling court that this person has defied what you have pronounced, and the court found her wanting and penalized her. Can't Natasha do the same thing? Go to the same court and file contempt that the Senate is not obeying the judgment pronounced by you. It is not left for you to go out to enforce a judgment. That is recklessness. I'm not in support of what the Senate is doing. She should know better. She has lawyers. She has people that advise her. No individual enforces judgment. Institutions enforce judgment through the instrumentality of the court. Why can't she follow that way? It's just like somebody who seemingly won an election with teaming supporters, trying to declare himself the winner of the contest, even when the electoral body has not declared the person. What the law says is approach tribunal. After tribunal, you can go on appeal. There is a process, there is a procedure. Natasha decided not to follow that procedure, not to follow the process, but just to be dramatic. Honestly, it's a show of shame between her and the Senate, honestly speaking. For whoever that is close to her should advise her to go to the court and file contempt, not trying to enforce it. What's the idea of being stopped at the other gate? You walked almost 900 meters, which is close to 1 kilometer. What's the drama for? You go to the same second gate, the inner gate, you are stopped. All of a sudden, you started making comments that, see, those comments you are making, go to the court and make those comments. And probably you have the whole thing going well for you. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. I have not seen anybody who tries on his own to enforce his own judgment. Nobody does it. What people do is to go back to the court. If the judgment is not enforced, file for contempt on those who decided not to enforce the judgment. That's why I said she's being dramatic. She's being histrionic. And that's why I'm bringing her character into the picture. That's not how to go about this.
Okay. Well, all of the things you have said are quite clear. We keep our fingers crossed to see what comes out of the countersuits, the appeals that have been made on that judgment lately. Hopefully in the coming days we'll finally get to know what the court decides, and things are done the right way as against how it is going presently, not forgetting the constant here, the people she represents, who are presently being disenfranchised, if there is no other way to put it. Because if the person who represents them at the floor of the House is not present, I doubt if their interests will be represented as such. And so, let's keep our fingers crossed to see what happens in the coming days. But let's go to other stories. Like I said, the last 24 hours have been a lot of developments. I'm torn between going straight to the drama between Obi Okpeblo and Wike now stepping in presently. But of course, before I tilt towards that angle, while we are still on some national politics, let's look at APC and the meeting that is built to happen tomorrow, right? The NEC meeting is built to happen tomorrow. And the national chairmanship seat of the APC is still vacant presently. There is somebody sitting in for Ganduje since his resignation. But what do you think? What are the predictions you have to make?
APC is their internal affairs, and it's expected they'll be holding NEC meeting tomorrow. And that NEC meeting will be to appoint an acting national chairman. And we have seen it before now that the North Central, they are making a case that it should be what it is, that the position should be zoned to that very geopolitical zone. And recall that they had that very position based on zoning when the former governor of Nasarawa State was removed by the president on ascending or becoming president. And we know why he did that. He was supporting Ahmed Lawan when Buhari was there as the president to succeed President Muhammad Buhari. And he was also seen to be a member of the cabal that wanted to push Ahmed Lawan through the back door. So immediately the president was sworn in. One of the first things he did was to relieve him of that very duty, Abdullahi Adamu. Immediately Abdullahi Adamu is relieved of that very duty. The North Central thought that the successor ordinarily should also come from the same North Central geopolitical zone. And they made a case for that. But Mr. President had his way. Remember, he's the leader of the party. And as the leader of the party, he decides what happens in that very party. He handpicked Ganduje from Northwest. And we saw what happened while Ganduje was there. For his reason, he asked Ganduje to resign, and which he did. So North Central is making that case that Abdullahi Adamu hasn't completed his term. So he should be allowed to complete his term or to run out his term, pending when they'll be having National Convention. Remember, Abdullahi Adamu was also handpicked by President Muhammadu Buhari against all odds. When Adam Oshomole was asked to resign, he resigned, and President Muhammadu Buhari didn't make any political calculation. Remember, Adam Oshomole, while he was there, he is from South geopolitical zone. Mr. President went and handpicked Abdullahi Adamu, who was at that time a serving senator. He had been a strong supporter of President Muhammadu Buhari. And now Tinubu has done exactly the same thing Muhammadu Buhari did by handpicking Ganduje. Now, for those who are saying it will be North Central or so, the president can handpick anybody. And you've seen the CPC bloc in APC making a strong case, saying they have been neglected, they have been abandoned, they have been shoved aside, they have become passengers in that party as against being drivers. Tanko Amakura, former governor of Nasarawa State, is of CPC bloc, and he has been pushing to be the national chairman of that party. I remember when President Muhammadu Buhari had picked Abdullahi Adamu, he made a case, he made strong push, but the president had his way. Having known Adamu as somebody who is trusted and reliable, has been his supporter for a very long time. What Tinubu is looking at for is not necessarily somebody who is from North Central or South. He is looking at somebody who will be 100% loyal. And that person's loyalty must have been tested and trusted. The person will definitely be at his own whims and caprices, at his own instance, in fact, everything he wants. Not somebody who will be behind him in the morning, in the afternoon, possibly will be having some statements or some exchanges with the opposition. So that's the person I guess the president is looking at for, not necessarily where or the political zone that person is from. Somebody who will not act like Ganduje in the way and manner he acted. Mr. President looked at somebody who is going to ensure that he withers a storm against his presidency or his re-election. Somebody who has that electoral value, electoral weight in his geopolitical zone. Look at Ganduje. He couldn't win Kano State.
Names have been mentioned. Who do you think has this capacity?
If you look around, you must looking at somebody who is just a former governor, and that person, not just being a former governor, must have been in the system, and somebody who has shown some level of consistency and who won the state or seem to have won the state for APC in the last election. The man Tinubu is looking at numbers. What was your report card in the last election?
I'll give you names. Sorry about that. I'll give you names. The likes of Senator Sani Musa, Tanko Almakura, George Akume, Joshua Darie. These 4 people have been mentioned. Do you think any of them has the capacity that you just mentioned?
These 4 persons are from the same North Central. Sani, former Senate spokesperson from Niger State, Almakura from Nasarawa State, George Akume from Benue State, Joshua Darie from Plateau State. They are all from North Central geopolitical zone. I'm saying Mr. President can go beyond this North Central geopolitical zone.
Yeah,
why
but
people,
I said these 4 people have been mentioned.
Yeah, why people are,
these 4, do they, anybody among them?
They are as good as their last showing. What was their report in the last election? Joshua Darie, who was convicted, released, pardoned by President Muhammadu Buhari. You have to write him
pardoned. When you say convicted, 2 things here. He wasn't necessarily proven innocent. He was just pardoned.
He was convicted, and he was serving his sentence. Then Mr. President
he was guilty of all of the corruption allegations.
He was, and then in fact, the entire legal fireworks ended after almost a decade or more than a decade. So he was convicted, and then he was imprisoned. So it was at that point that President Muhammadu Buhari granted him pardon alongside with Reverend Jolly Nyame of Taraba State.
So let's call it what it is. He has a criminal record.
He has, even though these things cannot stand against him now because he has been pardoned, but it's still within the mindset
the
of
person.
The opposition will definitely will pick on it. The thing is, what was his last showing in the last election?
Sorry to button there, Tony. Is it about the opposition or about the person now? Now I'm looking at the larger picture here. Nigeria as it is. We have this culture of not looking at the, for the want of a better word, the moral standing of some of the persons we put in sensitive positions. We are talking about the leadership of the ruling party. And in as much as he was pardoned, it doesn't take away the fact that he at a point had such hefty allegations of corruption leveled and proved against him, against his person. It's not about what has happened. It's about the person. Do you think that having such a person at the helm of the ruling party is good, not just for us in here, but for our image internationally?
That's why I've said I've written him off. The president is not even interested in whether you are corrupt or not corrupt. The president is interested in your ability, your capacity to deliver your region, to deliver your state. After all, there are people who are still working with Mr. President who have corrupt allegations against them. Akpabio is the Senate President. Mr. President decided that he will be the Senate President based on the capacity he has shown. But if you go to EFCC, he has files. Natasha was even making such statements yesterday. Even Metawale. Do you know how many times Governor Lawa of Zamfara State has come out to accuse him of being a mastermind of insecurity in Zamfara State, and so many things that happened.
Well, the Vice President also has such allegations.
So if you look at it, Mr. President is not interested in those allegations. What he's interested is your capacity to deliver your region. Would you think, or would you say that if election comes up today, would these men win their respective states? Were they instrumental in the emergence of the governors? See, there are time for me. Look at how the cloud is thickening. What is serving Mr. President is this bickering between Obedient and then the Atiku camp. If these 2 men unite, it will be very, very difficult for him. So what he has going for him is that Atiku and Obi can never come together. And from the look of things, it appears, unless miracle happens. So Mr. President is looking at somebody who is going to deliver his region, who has the capacity, who has the electoral weight, who has the electoral value, not somebody who you may say has been convicted, is not interested in that. Someone will say, what about Mr. President? The issue of criminal drug-related cases around him, even though the Supreme Court has said that it can be proven. But the point remains, I've said what I said. So these are people I believe he's looking out for. So these men you've mentioned, they don't have the capacity. They don't have it. So it could be beyond. These names you've mentioned.
So who do you see when you say it could be beyond? Who are you thinking of beyond the North Central, beyond these four men that have been sort of a constant in this conversation?
Somebody like if Kwankwaso had joined APC, if Kwankwaso had joined APC, I will bet you that Mr. President may decide to make him the APC national chairman.
Do you think Kwankwaso wields what it takes? I mean, Kwankwaso has only the Kwankwasia movement, which give or take has sway only in one state.
That's what the president is looking at for. Kano State is more equivalent to Lagos State in population. Kano State is just one state that you can equate it with 3 or 4 states. So he has the numbers. So Mr. President is looking at the numbers. We are talking about numbers. And what wins election for you is that's numbers.
You know, thinking of it now, Tony, I think it's quite a thing for one state to have the influence of 4 states. So somebody who has a state like Kano in the bag has, give or take, the population given to 4 other smaller states.
That's what it is. Remember, he had an engagement with Mr. President some days back, and the rumors are rife. Who knows? Maybe he would announce before the end of today. And the idea is to ensure that he does not go to ADC, he doesn't join the coalition. Because if he joins coalition, it becomes a minus for APC. And
Looking
Mr.
at
President,
Kwankwaso's person, what do you think he would do?
if Kwankwaso comes in there, as let's say, because he's not a member of APC as we speak now.
No, I mean, what do you think Kwankwaso would do as a person? What do you predict?
He would do as a person.
Yes, the ADC is looking out for him, the APC is looking out for him.
2 things. He is going to look at his personal interests, where his interest will be better served.
Where do you think he will
What
be better
interest
served?
has he? He has interest to become the president. If Mr. President can agree with him that once you are done with your next 4 years, you will support me to become the president. So if Mr. President assures him that, Kwankwaso will boldly enter APC on the assurance that he will succeed President Muhammadu Buhari by the time power returns back to the north.
You know, thinking of it now, I am curious to find out, with the likes of Atiku already in the ADC, don't you think there are certain blocks they can no longer pull? Because with the Kwankwaso aligning with the ADC, the implication is this: if power goes back to the north, his chances are reduced.
That is why he feels that he still has most better standing in APC compared to being in ADC. Because if you come to ADC, he will become the 3rd arrowhead. You have Obi, you have Atiku. So he becomes and now he's from the same knot
Is that
with
a
Atiku.
constant in the ADC?
So
Yeah?
that is just that. And if he goes back to ADC and there is primaries between him, Obi, and Atiku and other persons, Atiku will win that primary.
Yeah.
Atiku, remember, he came second when President Muhammadu Buhari won that primary in 2015. Kwankwaso came second ahead of Atiku. Many people have forgotten that, but he was a serving governor. Atiku wasn't a serving governor, so he came second with his push. That tells a lot. So if you can imagine why Buhari came first was because Bola Ahmed Tinubu supported him. The Southwest region supported Buhari. That was how he came first. And it was in that arrangement that he promised Buhari. Buhari promised Tinubu that once I'm done with my 8 years, I'm going to support you. But Tinubu did not get that kind of support he was expecting. But Buhari decided to play neutral and allow things to pan out. Now, if Kwankwaso can extract that commitment from Tinubu, I remember when Willie Obiano was going for second term, he had a part with our own Professor Soludo that how we hand over power to you. And Soludo said, you hardly see men that can fulfill such arrangement or fulfill such promise by ensuring that I support your candidacy to ensure you win. So the point I'm trying to make is that's what Kwankwaso is looking at for. If he goes into ADC, it becomes difficult for him to be where he wants to be. The shortest route will be for him to go into APC with the mindset that there will be a kind of agreement, a pact with the president that he is going to back his candidacy by the time he completes the second term. So you find Kwankwaso will deliver not just Kano to the president. So That is the political permutation we've been extrapolating. That's what it is.
Okay, let us quickly go for a commercial break. When we come back, we'll look at the Senate's approval of Tinubu's $21 billion foreign loan rather briefly. And right after that, we are going to also take a look at what happened in Edo State. Do stay.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Good news and welcome to Winners Global Estate, Heaven in Ogwashuku and Nyocha local government area, Asaba, Delta State. Home sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, mamas and papas, Winners Global Estate is here with a special promo package for real winners. Don't miss out in this laudable promo 2025, Heaven on Earth.
Buy, build, live, work, and enjoy. Unlock your dream home of reality. Winners Global Estate is selling fast. 3.5 million, 50 by 100. No more 7 million. Promo price. For booking and more information, please call
081 64 404098 or 080 37 44 3787. Winners Global Estate. Your security is assured.
Winners and Winners Global Estate. Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, I'll pack it and Wendy's bread, Mama, Papa, they like Wendy's bread, Nachi and do Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Ninta. Wendy's bread, you get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread, the champion.
Wendy's bread, your tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
From the commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region, where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM, seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Just joined us. This is the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. My name is Chisom. Tony Mbeki is still here as well on the analysis desk. Do not forget we are live on Facebook at Udala Radio 104.7 FM and of course on YouTube at Udala Radio. Make sure to subscribe to our page on YouTube. Like and follow our page on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter of course. And you can hit the subscribe button or the notification button on Facebook to be aware, to be alerted whenever we have our programs live or even whenever we have anything going on our social media platforms. You can drop your comment right on that video of this show right there on Facebook. And now we are moving over to some financial matters. We're going to end the conversation today in the political circle as well, because what happened in Edo is more or less political. But let's stay with the Senate approving Tinubu's $21 billion foreign loan. Yesterday, the Senate approved external borrowing plan of over $21 billion for the 2025-26 fiscal cycle, paving the way for the full implementation of the 2025 Appropriation Act. The comprehensive borrowing package includes $21.9 billion in direct foreign loans, 4 billion euros, 15 billion yuan, a $65 million grant, and domestic borrowing through government bonds, totaling approximately 757 billion naira. Also included was a provision to raise up to $2 billion through a foreign currency denominated instrument in the domestic market. Tony, all of these are a lot of economic terms, a lot of economic, I don't know how best to put it now, but to the uninitiated, what is happening with all of these figures?
Just like we were about to talk about it the other time when we were talking about the issue of Natasha, and we said we're going to leave it by the time we get to that, and we are back to that. And as you rightly pointed out earlier on, yesterday the Senate approved President Tinubu's request to borrow $21.19 billion in foreign loans alongside other facilities. 4 billion euros, and if you convert 4 billion euros to dollar, it will be $4.7 billion. Then outside 4 billion euros, that would also join into $1.19 billion. The president is also seeking the request to borrow 15 billion Japanese yen. And if you convert 15 billion Japanese yen into dollars, it will give you about $102 million. I think Mr. President is also seeking for $65 million grants, and also up to 2 billion naira in foreign currency bond issuance in local markets, and also issuance of 757 billion naira in domestic bonds to clear pension arrears. And then if you ask, where would this money come from? Is another path of borrowing. There will be the bilateral and multilateral lenders, World Bank, African Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and many other partners. And then foreign currency bonds will be sold locally, and then $65 million grants, non-repayable funds. And we are told that the loan will be used to fuel capital intensive and strategic sector projects. We are told that the infrastructure, that is the railway, notably the $3 billion for rebuilding the 2,044-kilometer Eastern Rail Corridor. I saw Senator Victor yesterday when he said he doesn't need to look out for 1 second in approving this very loan. He threw his support, and he said why he threw his support, because he saw the construction of Eastern Rail Corridor, which has been abandoned, the one that will take you from Port Harcourt all the way to Maiduguri. And if you're talking about Port Harcourt, from Port Harcourt to Aba, from Aba to Umuahia, from Umuahia to Enugu, but these things will have spurs in some areas. From there, it takes you down to Maiduguri. So he gave his reason for supporting this borrowing plan anyway. And we are told that the borrowing, that Eastern Rail Corridor is estimated to cost about $3 billion. And also, the money will also be used to fuel the infrastructure in the area of power, healthcare, education, housing security, agriculture, and the digital connectivity. And we are told that the one for the grant for pension arrears, when you talk about grant, is non-repayable. When anybody gives you grant is given a la carte. Not really, you have to request for it anyway and then meet certain conditions anyway, but it's not repayable. That is about 757 billion bond issuance to settle expired benefit. But we are told that these funds will be drawn over a 6-year period from 2025 down to 2030. And we also, we have the way they are segmented, the long-term, the concessional loans, and so many other things. And if you look at the debt burden we currently find ourselves, I'm aware that as of June 2023. I'm not talking about 2024. I'm not talking about because if you add 2024 and some part of borrowings we have had in 2025, it's going to be something else. But I'm aware that debt as we speak right now is over 113 billion US dollars. And if you look at our debt, it's even closing in on our GDP. Yesterday we talked about our GDP. If you talk about debt to GDP ratio, it's going to be humongous. Remember yesterday I did conversion of our $205 trillion rebased GDP yesterday, and I said I use 1,500 as our exchange rate, and I was able to do that calculation, and I got about, depending on how I got about $135 billion. But I've seen some places where they say 199, depends on what you're working with, but it's not up to $200 billion. And I'm just saying that as at last 2 years, 2023, our debt burden is about $113 billion, without including that of 2024 and then some part of 2025. But the truth remains that I'm saying it, and I'm aware that some other analysts, they're also saying the same thing, that if you add $21 billion in foreign debt, it could elevate our debt to GDP ratio and debt servicing burden in coming years. What is this country turning into? Why can't we invest in many sectors like agriculture? I've said here many times, do you know how much this country, Netherlands, Denmark, do you know how much they make from their export of agricultural products? They make in excess of $100 billion. Go and fact check me. But here we are, going cap in hand, looking for lenders. African Development Bank, World Bank, Islamic Bank, these are what we are doing when we are supposed to make right investments and at the same time diversify our economy. If we keep on going the way we are going, there will be a time our debt will eclipse our GDP and we have negative debt to GDP ratio. It spells a lot of things. Mr. President is trying to let us know yesterday, I think you said it, that our debt servicing has come down a bit. We are talking about revenue to debt servicing because that's the number one criteria for any borrowing plan. Whatever you make out of your revenue, how well do you relate it with your debt? Revenue to debt ratio, what is it all about? And if your revenue to debt ratio, there was a time in Nigeria it was almost 90%, 95%. So what it means that whatever money you make as a revenue as a country, you sink it in servicing your debt. It takes you nowhere. So what it means that you will be relying on borrowing to pay certain recurrent expenditures. It takes us nowhere. And it also makes our own predicament so critical. The point remains that it's not about giving us this infrastructure. Most of these infrastructures that we have been told that we are going to be given, how would these infrastructures pay back this debt in a way? What are the plans? The payment plans. Most times, in all of these, they read out yesterday, nobody did say anything about repayment plans. Are you going to repay by whatever revenue you generate from custom taxes? Are you going to keep increasing taxes for the payments to be made? What are our plans? I'm not seeing a good roadmap anyway. That's my own concern. Because I'm looking at it that if you add $21 billion, 4 billion euros, 15 billion Japanese yens, I don't want to talk about the grants, it will add to our debt burden to the point that our revenue to debt service will be something that cannot be sustained, totally unsustainable. That's my own view. So I know definitely for those of us who are from South, you will say, oh, if they include this Eastern Red Corridor, what are we talking about? If you want to travel from here to Maiduguri and some, remember that corridor traverses through a lot of states. So it becomes easy. It's one thing many have longed for under Buhari, which never came. So, according to Victor, who threw his support yesterday during the passage of this request, he says, well, I'm doing that because I'm seeing he's not also concerned about the effect or the calamitous consequence of this. But that's what it is.
All right, then. We are going to leave that matter now to go to Edo State. First, I am going to play the part where Pueblo spoke, and from there we listen to what Wike said as well. And so, let's start with this already. Okay, give me a second. I need to do some disconnections here. Okay, I'll start that again.
Without telling me. Was I chewing hot yam? Do I need 1 + 3 to make my sentence? No! Do I need to read the encyclopedia for people to understand what I'm saying? No! Now come from where they walk. My God! To follow. My job is not only to work for Edo people. My job is to save the life of every Edo citizen and visitors coming to Edo. On television of recent, unnecessary debates. And that is why I say Nigerians forget history. When I was governor, when Peter was coming to my state, he notified me. He was coming to my state. I provided logistics, vehicles for him to use. Because at that level, as a profile presidential candidate, if he does not tell you and anything happens, the governor will be held responsible. And people should stop politicking when the truth is being told.
Okay. Let's see. I think he had some more.
Coronation. Anything can happen. They will accuse the governor that he was behind it.
Okay, I think this is the point where we jump in on the matter. First, it was a Pueblo speaking. I intentionally left that audio raw because, Tony, you complained about the people who walk around with bands that praise them lately. Pueblo has, what do I call it now? He's one of those. And so he speaks at some point, the band will, hail him. And I was like, okay, is that what we're doing now? And then after he spoke, the second voice was that of Yeso Wike, who was there in Edo State yesterday to also commission a project. And the both of them spoke concerning Pueblo's statement a few days ago. I think it was over the weekend, when he said if Obi is coming to, Obi should not come to Edo State without first clearing with him. He said it's because of safety, and he was not chewing hot yam. Tony Mbeki, he was not what? Chewing hot yam.
And you are laughing, and doesn't that sound comic to you?
It's comic!
For you to laugh, and many Nigerians are making skits out of it, and then Nyesom Wike and Governor Monday will have increasingly comported themselves not as statesmen of solemn public trust, but as theatrical dramatics of political vaudeville, masters of performative populism, whose actions often verge on the histrionic rather than the statesmanlike. I think I have wanted to say this. I studied personality disorders, based on the diagnostic and the statistical manual of mental disorders.
What are you hinting at?
I'm just trying to come at something. I'm digressing now.
Okay.
But I'm aware that if you talk about these personality disorders, you have cluster A, which is known as odd or eccentric disorder, and it contains paranoid personality disorder, schizoid personality disorder, and also schizotypal personality disorder. And then when you talk about cluster B, you talk about dramatic, emotional, and erratic disorder. And when you talk about this dramatic, emotional, or erratic disorder, you bring issue of antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and histrionic personality disorder, even narcissistic personality disorder. That's where these two men fall in. That's where I'm just trying to come in. Wike and then Obebele. Both of them fall into dramatic, emotional, or erratic disorder. Every individual has personality disorder, don't mind me. Every individual. So I'm just trying to group their own, where they fall in. And you can as well quite agree with me. I was talking about Natasha being too histrionic, somebody who always wants publicity. Aren't you seeing something that these two men, they go around with bands? Live, bands. What is it for? Publicity. Attention seekers. They want to be talked about.
Money goes into that. That is my own.
Apart from money
going, taxpayers' money,
and that they cannot even account for it. Anybody who seeks attention, who is attention seeker, who is erroneously and at the same time over into publicity, the person has this histrionic disorder, and that's where Wiki and the baby falls into. I don't know what about chewing hot yam. I don't need to read the encyclopedia for you to understand me. They say yes. If both of them want to be doing a lot of students, a lot of continua, they should go on and do it. I remember those days when we were in university. At every space, we will now come out and say greatest Boza, greatest Waba, greatest Waja. Things like this, and they're still doing it. So I've not seen any difference. So the point I'm trying to make is this: for the fact that P2B informed Wike that he will be coming to Port Harcourt, and where Wike admitted that he provided logistics support, security, and other things, does not validate that P2B must tell him. And he says that he is the chief security officer, that should anything happens to him, he should be held responsible. That's not true. After all, Gulak was killed in Imo State. Nobody held Hope Uzodinma responsible for that death. Did anybody hold Hope Uzodinma for Gulak's death? Nobody. So the police swung into action and went about looking for those who were involved. Even when Hope Uzodinma knew about Gulak coming into the state, he didn't even provide such security. So, but the point I'm trying to make is this: we have our laws, we have customs, we have tradition, we have norms. It is not in our law that a governor or a politically exposed person must tell a governor for his protection. That is not in our law. It's not part of our law. It's not also part of our tradition. I've seen places where even those who are campaigning for different positions have visited the state without even telling the state governor. Yes. I understand that if you are a president and if you're going to any state, definitely governor must welcome you. Whether the governor is in your party or not in your party, that is our custom. It's not even our law. It's a president can decide to visit any state without telling the governor. Yes. But it's just part of our tradition. It's customary that a president informs the governor so that the governor will welcome him. That is tradition. It's not part of our law. The one Wike is talking about is not even part of our tradition. It is something that is personal and optional. If you want to visit a state, the governor is against you. Definitely, if you're a politically exposed person, you will not tell the governor. You telling the governor maybe increase the risk. And many of them, the way they are trying to twist this. Alia did his own. Has told everybody now. He has done his own anyway, but he has told anybody. He doesn't need to read the encyclopedia for people to understand him. More like if you understand whatever he says, that's fine for by him. And the bands, he has emulated Wike in moving around with bands. And they will be, at any point, if in fact the band will also help him. If he makes mistake, the band will come in and cover the mistake. But he should not try that mistake he did the last time when he promised to give the people of Edo State insecurity. When he meant security. He shouldn't make that mistake. But the point is, let us be real. These things are politics. These things are pure politics. When Wike went to Edo State, because I've seen Wike going in to different states to fight certain battles. There were times he will come to a state, security operators will tell him, in fact, for security reasons, you are advised not to enter the state. I remember when Obaseki was the governor of Edo State, he was going for second term, and Wike was back in Obaseki. He left. I think he has given the story. He said that he did not bathe for 2 days or 3 days and things like that, and he saw the forces against Obaseki. Then he was strongly in PDP. What did he do? he was asked not to enter Edo State because it was election period. Did he listen to that? He did not. He went into Edo State and told the security operatives that if these governors were in that state, why wouldn't I be? So these things are politics. It's not written anywhere. So you shouldn't come and say that when Peter Obi came to Port Harcourt to visit him, he was the person Peter Obi wanted to visit. It's different thing. Not that the Peter Obi had come to do other things in the state. Peter Obi had come to visit Wike and possibly to hold engagement with some obedient movements. And where he came to seek for Wike's support for presidency, which Wike didn't give him. Yes, he provided buses, he provided logistic support, he ensured that the buses that conveyed Peter Obi and the central, some of this, he provided. But the primary person Peter Obi wanted to come and see that period was Wike himself and other engagements he had in the state.
And so I want us to clarify something in the middle of all of these enter, no enter, and all of that. Why are we politicking with these things, especially where, you know, a person as a Nigerian has the freedom of movement and association? People are going through distress, and a well-meaning Nigerian decides to go see them, or something of that nature, whatever the reason be. Why do we have this politics coming up in the first place? Isn't it something that screams of some kind of authoritarianism in our system?
I think why these things are coming up is because of different political interests. Obebelo and the Wike, they are there to ensure that nobody blocks Mr. President re-election. And you see the manner and way they're going about it. The same thing with Father Hyacinth Alia, who also believed that insecurity in Benue State was orchestrated against his re-election. Most of them are thinking about the next election. They're not thinking about the welfare of those they are leading. They're not so much into that. So that is what they're thinking. And they are doing everything to ensure that those who are still looking for what their principal has will be frustrated. And they are doing just that to ensure that these people are well frustrated, totally frustrated. And that is part of politics. And they can twist it in any way to make meaning to anybody. We have said it many times here. I can tell you there are some states we can visited without telling the governors, even when as a politically exposed person he is, even if as a serving governor. Many of them do have private engagements in some states without even the governor knowing. Yes. So for him to come out here that says, and for him to come out here to say that Peter Obi must, there are times he as a person had private engagements with particular set of people or individuals in a particular state. How many times did he tell the governor of that state he was coming? He chooses to tell those governors that are his friends. Those who are not his friends, he will not tell. Let us be real. And this thing shouldn't be an issue. After all, what did he go to Edo to do yesterday? To launch Edo line, where the 100 buses were rolled out for the Edo line for whatever reason. And then they turned that stage into a political arena. It's good. This is politics. Everybody should play his politics. And one thing is, if this person is playing his politics, don't be against him. If the other person is playing his politics, don't be against him. These things are politics. My own concern, you know my constituency? My constituency is the welfare and security of the people. That's my own constituency. The welfare and security of the people. That is my own constituency. All these things are window dressing, smooth screen. I'm not so much perturbed. They are doing what they're doing for their own personal interest, for their personal gain, and they keep on doing that. My own interests are just like I've told you, the people. That's where my interest lies.
All right then. We all heard Okweblo say what he said. While it sounds quite hilarious, two things stood out for me where he spoke about the security and insecurity and how it's all about security, and Wike collaborated by saying that if anything happens, the governor would be held responsible. I was going to ask you, if a person of certain standing comes to a place and is attacked, what does he even mean by the governor being held responsible?
These are political statements. How many governor in Nigeria has been held responsible for any death in his own state?
You know, I was
not even talk about
somebody was shot in Abuja over the weekend. 2 legs.
Is Wike? I think that person that was shot,
a party's candidate,
PDP gubernatorial candidate for Anambra State. He was ambushed in Abuja. His 2 legs were shot at. Did anybody hold Wike responsible because he's a pseudo governor? He's a pseudo governor. Or did anybody hold Mr. President responsible? That person is also a politically exposed person, and possibly he may not have told Wike he was coming. Yes, and nobody held Wike responsible. He may have told him, he may not have told him. But since we've been talking about it, June 1, has anyone held anybody responsible? The answer is no. Forget these political statements. They are just trying to push up these things to make and deceive people they want to deceive. These things are neither here nor there. So, even in your own Abuja, you cannot even provide security.
I was wondering, you live in a glass house and you're throwing stones.
And they are making these statements and Nigerians are sharing them. But it's good anyway. And later on, you come and cry for hunger. So, the important thing is, this is politics. From anywhere you look at it, it is politics at its fullness.
Before we open up the phone lines, Adeleke said something yesterday. I was almost forgetting.
What did he say?
Seeming like he's supporting the president for 2027.
Yes, he declared his support for Mr. President. And he said he was going to work for Mr. President.
Oh, he's a PDP.
PDP is an offshoot of APC.
Oh, so
PDP,
the caucus of the PDP.
Didn't I say it the other time that PDP is in coalition with APC, and he comfortably, at least a man who is approaching re-election, he comfortably. And did anybody say anything?
Anti-party.
Nobody made a statement. When he made that very statement, Damagu didn't say anything, Anyanwu didn't say anything, Wike, and all of them, they even eulogized him for coming out to say we work with. Are you not seeing that PDP is in coalition with APC? When we say things like this here, people think we are playing. What we say here is the truth and nothing but the truth. You may not like it, you may like it, but it's the truth.
What better proof? I was asking myself, what better proof than what Adeleke did yesterday? The whole allegations of PDP being an offshoot of the APC, or maybe this PDP caucus being an offshoot of the APC. And I'll be wondering to myself, Tony, the other caucus within the PDP that is still not working with the APC and still not in the ADC, what do you think might become? I mean, the part of the Enugu state governor and all of that.
Time shall tell. I've told you, you don't need to worry yourself. They have, made their plans very clear. It's a question of time. What happened to Adeleke? You will hear Diriduye very soon. I think the only thing holding that man is Siraki Dixon. Once he's able to resolve one or two things with Siraki Dixon seems not to be in support of that, and then Siraki Dixon, for whatever reason, remains his political godfather, and he's trying to give him maximum respect. The pressure has been so much on him, and we understand. And he's also trying to whoop Peraki Dixon into the ship, telling him that we will better serve here. So let's watch, but then the whole thing is in the pipeline.
Fingers crossed. Go for live on Facebook, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Drop your comment right under that video. You can also go to YouTube, like, follow, subscribe to our different handles to be notified whenever we are live. The numbers to call are 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. You have 2 minutes. Go straight to the point. Be as objective as possible. And please do turn down the volume on your radio set. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This early morning. Chief Tony, good morning.
Good
morning. My lady, good morning.
Good morning.
I will just speak on Chief Tony and he's just playing politics. Well, I don't know if we're now playing Russian roulette. Unfortunately, our politics is dying. And the people, the actors, speak with so much bitterness that you begin to wonder. And the hate is there. This obvious issue and Edo State has brought out the kind of characters we vote for, select or elect, as people that run our state and other offices, even the highest office in the land. Something will happen. Now, so they're playing politics. A man threatens somebody of it will be, you just look at it and say they're playing politics. Meanwhile, you're threatening his life. What you say is life threatening. And it's totally unacceptable in any civilized time. And the man must be brought to book. That is a Babylon. As for Winke has destroyed virtually everything. Now he is gradually destroying APC. Did you hear any APC? There's nothing else to destroy. All those people, his friend Oshomono said, come and be forgiving. How far? Have they forgiven them? Most of them are now shifting to this coalition we're talking about. Time will tell. But I dare say that they must stop playing their politics at the expense of the pauperized and gullible citizenry. Enough is enough. Well, we say what happened to the Jude Nwafo, the man from the presidential aspirant. He was shot in your domain. What did you do? So, from what you say, we hold you responsible and culpable possibly because you're supposed to be looking after him. God will guide and help us in this country.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good day too. Let's hear what you have to say. Hello, good morning. Are you there? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Chisom. This is Josh calling from Astora.
You have 2 minutes.
For me, I would say that I'm not totally against Natasha on whatever any way that is going. Because what they are doing to him is injustice. So the lady is fighting within in power with everything that she has. Okay, if we are saying that he's trying to be a drama queen or great drama, let me say something here. In Nigeria today, we understand this from the time from Buhari. That if we are not ready to obey court order, how many times that I've court said that court has said that let the release man come? So many cases that we have been witnessing in this country that is coming directly to the people in corridor of people in power. You see that they won't obey, even in open states. You see, state government, they don't obey court order. Okay, you are saying that you appeal a judgment. I think before you appeal that judgment, you must give that person the relief race. Give that person the privilege, at least to obey the law of the court first. Before now, if we're not starting going through your appeals, now the thing is not happening. It's almost like the lady is having a suspension when we understand that the court has gave a judgment on that you have no right to suspend it for that long. So I don't blame that lady. I thought it's very nice. People said that she went to that place yesterday because we understand that they're going to recess of 2 months. And that was to make it 6 months suspension that they gave to her. So it's very nice that she went there yesterday. So let them continue the drama. So the international country will be watching at us, laughing at us. Because when a single man went to a senate, because a senate president, you see that you are all at all. Because you are the president and we just wicked and hijack Nigeria. Everybody is now under your shoes. It's very wrong. So I totally agree with what the lady did yesterday. Because if you keep quiet, they are going to be recent for 2 months. That means that the fiscals have been lapsed. Did they obey the court order there? And after these 2 months, you will be surprised that this woman will still remain at home. So whatever way that they see that is going to regain the mandate back,
it should be rounding off.
I support him. Good morning.
Good morning. Right then, you too can join the conversation. 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. Let's hear you. Hello, good morning. Are you there?
Morning.
Yes, good morning.
I am Mr. Kasmi. I'm calling from Ebuka Road this morning.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to say kudos to all of you there in the studio for the good job you are doing.
Thank you.
And to Tony, thank you very much for being very, very objective in your analysis. Now, talking about Mondo, Popolo, with Puhaha, with Titodi, I think they are only playing a kind of politics that does not move any country forward. All they are doing is how do we push P2B out of the way? Because to them, P2B is a threat. They are not playing politics. They are not statesmen. They are just politicians. They are interested in the next election, not next generation. It is quite unfortunate because if at the end of the day they succeed in pushing Peter B out of the way, is not in Labour Party, is not in ADC, as they are playing the game, it is indeed something that will work seriously against Nigeria as a country. If I should accept that Nigeria is a country, because the late Chief Jeremiah Obafemi Awolowo made a statement that Nigeria is a major geographical expression. I don't think that the politicians believe in Nigeria as a country. If they do, they will not be doing this kind of thing they're doing. People are dying of hunger, joblessness. Boko Haram members and the rest of them are killing people, and they are busy politicking 2027. Where will this take us to nowhere? The that of Natasha and Abacho is unfortunate. It's a very shameful display. It's supposed not to happen, but let us keep watching the drama. Nigeria is a major geographical expression. So that they should look for a professional broken bottle fixer and make him a Nigerian president. That's the solution. Otherwise, it's unfortunate. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you for your contribution. Let's hear what you have to say. 0803-827-6694, 0803-221-6974. Good morning. You have the floor. Go ahead.
Good morning, my speaker, Tony Mbeki.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Good morning, my sister, Chisom.
Good morning.
I think the voice of honor to listen to pray from our kingdom.
Go ahead, please.
You see, if God allows people to implement the court judgments and favor them, that would be what catastrophe in Nigeria. People carry God, carry everything to fight for their rights, because God has said. It's not done like that. Like what one can say, I say actually it all. Now I just supposed to go to court and ask court for contempt of not implementing the court order against the family. That is pretty. God no, you cannot take law into your own hands. But sometimes is a content creator. What to know him, see him, everything happening. This is the way of the living. And it's not, that is not going well for the president. It's not going well at all for the president. All this is happening. Then it's better they stop this now and put it amicable and resolve their problem. Thank you. I'm done.
All right, then. Let's hear you. Hello, good morning. Oh dear, you may need to reconnect. Oh, okay. Good morning.
Good morning, the parliamentarian.
Yes, good morning.
Go
Go ahead.
I proceed. Yeah, I want to comment mostly on the foreign aspect of Mr. President. Because since 2023 is today, we have borrowed enough. Who pays this money? We have people are suffering here. The citizens. The citizens are hungry. And they're borrowing money, putting for a project I don't understand. See, I want them to understand that the life of human being matters more than anything concerning that construction of road, anything you are thinking of. Borrowing this money, and there is money in this country. Only poor crew will get 28 items there. Pipe is there, nail is there, zinc is there, name them. Only poor crew, nobody they go near. Even gas will name them. See, what ex-president, ex-senator in Kenya, Moses Kajima said, is what I'm seeing today. The man said that Nigerian land is blessed, and Nigerian sea is blessed. That the problem we have in this country is bad leaders. Say it openly, to the hearing of everybody. Now, I'm going for what Mobile is doing with Wike himself. I said this thing yesterday, they have big settle table. They have big settle table before that of Mobile come out and say this. Before Wike come in. Because they know that people, masses, love P2B. They are blocking the wall down where P2B not to enter most states because of the 2027 election. And what can I say? Whether they like it or not, anybody will be done as INEC chairman this time around. It's not FPC, any party at all. It's FPC, so Nigerian citizens. The suffering is enough. And that's my case here, we are blessed.
All right. right then, thank you for your contribution. You can also go to Facebook and drop your comments right under the post or the video related to the show. Let's hear what you have to say. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Wonderful morning to you. Lady of the house. Dr. Olisa Mbeki, good morning.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Yes, Honorable Boutique and live from Onitsha.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. I think no longer business as usual. Should anything happen to the Excellency, Mr. P2B? In fact, they knew because the moment, in obedient movement, you have all manner of anything you need, they can give it to you. They can even tell you how your father got married to your father. They will dig it out. So, but below, they are just making noise from weekend. His Excellency, Mr. Peter, will come to the state and nothing will happen. So, and he may even come on and announce, even the Reverend Father in Benue State. I think the man is just hallucinated. So all this effort for bad, all these things, they are just working for bad. And the coalition, just like the speaker pointed out, with PDP and APC, even if YPP, after let them join them. And let me tell you, this president is an outgoing president. Look at the recent rejection from the son of the former military president. Rejected his appointment. People are not comfortable with this administration. It's not the psychophants from Southeast, irrelevant politicians, that can be singing his praises. The North have taken a decision on what to do, and they're working towards it. The elites in the North, they are not even the Yorubas. The Yorubas who are not comfortable with this administration, they are working to see even closest allies of President Bad. They are working also, serious to see how they're going to, remove him out of office. So these things are so clear. So say below or what, I think they have gotten a little bit of the passion because I was even asking, how do you manage to get into the university?
Okay,
Yeah,
your time is almost up, but we'd like to correct something.
I'm almost done as well. So what I'm trying to say is this. Should anything, no, nothing, let's not even go there. For Natasha, I think the woman is on point, and we are actually exposing our body and are beginning to see that the criteria for people to get into office may be by, submitting, from what I'm seeing, from my own opinion, women, I think there are some things that go on behind the scenes before they are being given committee heads.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
All right, if you would stay on the line for just a bit, you said something about an appointment being rejected, right?
Yes, it was refuted anyway. The son of the former president, military president. Okay, but we still have to find out in details.
Well, according to reports, actually credible reports, it's been refuted. It was all a lie. He didn't put out that statement.
That's just what I'm saying. We
all right,
still
then.
have to find out because in some rumor there are the North. Let me tell you the truth, ladies. I think the North have taken a decision, and it's not an issue of the one-man affair.
All right.
The entire North have taken their decision, and the policies of President Bad is not favorable to anybody, not to talk of the North.
Okay, that's what you think, and that's totally fine too. We have to let you go so that other people can have the floor. Let's hear what you have to say. 0803-221-6973, 0807-6694. Hello, good morning. Are you there? Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody in the house.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
These people are bent to silence Nigerians. They know that Mr. P2B is only clean person among them. And Nigerians love him. These people are out to do everything within their arsenal to make sure that Mr. P2B about to get them. But we are out for them, both in prayer and in strategy. We are doing everything possible, and with listeners, we listen to this call. Let us restore the station back to where we need it to be. This is what I just see. They are not as many as us. As thinking that it is controlling every affairs of this country. Every affairs, both political and otherwise. It's kind of responsible. You know that Chinese is attitude. They will not work. All of them will not finish. We are waiting for them to do that. Even if they do that, it's enter air party, tax party, any party that you are going to follow him. Because he's the only one that has the advantage of the people at heart. Look at what the governor of the district is saying. Now he's not denying that thing. He issued a threat. That thing was a threat. It's a threat. In a country where things are working fine, he wants to be arrested. And he says, let him explain himself more. He issued a threat against him. This is saying on NSPC the other day. He's just making about the rules. You understand? But nothing will happen to himself. Anywhere he goes, he will be secured, both divine and otherwise. We are with him. Thank you.
Right then, thank you for your contribution. Let's hear what you have to say. 0803-221-6974. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
A wonderful morning to you, my lady.
Good morning.
My regard to your colleague. Is there a code here?
Yes, go ahead.
Doctor, Olisa Mbeki.
Yes, he's here. Go ahead.
Sir, I greet you, sir. Good morning, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. This is the voice of Oloye. I'm calling you from Onitsha.
Go ahead.
My sister. So these people want to go and borrow again. They want to go and go after removing first subsidy. Fuel that were sold in at the rate of I think 120 during the full loss regime. And at the end of that regime, it was 55 naira. Yeah, the man, those people was not going around borrowing from foreign countries. But this is after even that electric power sector that they have hacked the tariff. All those money, even those money that that was looted, that the FEFCC have recovered, it is not enough for them. They are still going around borrowing. Hey, my sister, these people, some of them, these politicians, they say that some of them are just ready to grab power without knowing what to do with the power that they grab. Let me tell you, it is high time that they stop this issue of borrowing. It is high time they stop this issue of borrowing. As for those people in the election, Atiku, Messi, and David Mark with Aerofly, they are the same people. I don't trust politicians again. After what they did to us in 2015, after promising Nigerians heaven and earth that the dollar that was in the rate of I think about 1.8, that they're going to make 1 naira to $1. Rice that was being sold at the rate of 7,000, that they will make it 4,000, 5,000. Look at where we are right now. Those promises that they promised to Nigerians, I have done those politicians. Let me tell you, it's better that we stick with these people than following those people. Why? Because those ones that promised us those things with that matter, FPC and the rest of them, these people have come out to promise another thing. The devil you know is better than the angel you don't know. That is my own take this morning.
All right, thank you for your contribution. We are going to go over to Facebook right after this last call, or one more call. Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Right, be snappy about it.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
My name is Mr. Basiru, calling from Onitsha right now.
Go ahead.
Let me speak on the issue of Natasha. When people think that what Natasha did is wrong, and I want to ask, who is there going to implement the judgment of that court? Is it the police? Is it the army? Who among the security agencies is going to implement the judgment of that court without Wike assigning it? Without the next president assigning it? Nigeria has advertised that to an extent that those people owe Nigeria. I'm even thinking that Justice in Yakuda gives the judgment. It's fair because he would have given a total judgment, giving it an announcement. But he just did it because he don't want the case. That's why he didn't pronounce that judgment. He didn't give it a pronouncement. As it's Nigeria stands now, there are people that go to Nigeria. Sometimes I begin to say that Tinubu is even scared of Wike. you see the land allocated to his family, and you ask yourself, how does this man behave this way? Are we still in Nigeria? Are we still in Nigeria? He will just bring everything in Nigeria and think that he's the only person in Nigeria and that is wise.
We have to go.
And I will ask myself, did we think that he's the only wisest person in the whole country?
Okay.
He's not. He's only that he has the opportunity to think that and sometimes somebody will be there. So this kind of politics we play in Nigeria stop because we don't play politics with a human conscience and human mind.
All right, I have to let you go at this point. I'm sorry we cannot take any more calls, but we are heading over to Facebook. Ekagonas Madueke says, Mr. Pueblo is yet to be known, banning a fellow Nigerian from entering your state. And on the case of Mr. Wike coming to defend the governor, he's just afraid of Mr. Obi's popularity. Okay, SJP says, legible to borrowing from any organization or any financial institution, an average human should think deep. Borrowing this money to convert into their, okay, I think you mean to say convert into their private pockets, and none of these leaders declared his or her assets. I'm living in the country with great fear. Ekegonas Madueke, I think I took your comment earlier, and for the want of time, I'll just take one. Mbechi Obi, I want to talk about the bill before the Federal House of Representatives. Please, they should include politicians and their children. Even retired ones must be included. I think he's talking about the ban on or restricting them to government-owned hospitals and schools. Well, fingers crossed. We both know that this might never see the light of day. Emmanuel Chiadi, the likes of Wike and Governor of Edo are mere demagogues who must go by the rule of the law and respect for human rights. Otherwise, they are putting our hard-earned democracy in jeopardy. I concur with your brilliant submissions on Kwankwaso and his presidential ambition as regards his move for any political alignment with APC. Mazi Chikwado, we see you. Fako C, pardon me. He says, we can Okbeblo, we are the typical example of what our political structure will look like if the Jagaban and his loyal jobbers will be allowed to hold power beyond 2027. I pray God intervenes as soon as possible and deliver the impoverished, innocent Nigerian citizens from the siege of these incompetent and scrupulous, desperate, power-intoxicated gladiators, jobbers, and vampires. Okay. Izuchukwu Shukura Salt. He says Governor Pueblo Ayesawike in Edo State only reinforces what many of us already know. These politicians do not genuinely prioritize the welfare of the people. While Peter Obi was in Edo State visiting hospitals, supporting IDP camps, and working to improve the lives of ordinary citizens, these same leaders chose to oppose him, placing political interests above the needs of the people. It is disappointing. Izuchukwu Chukura. Okay, that's another comment from the same person. You know what? Let's take that of some other people. Let's not prioritize the double commenting. Funai Fresher, to me, I think it's high time we ignore this issue between Natasha and her former friend, Senator Akwabio. Let's focus on issues concerning us here in Southeast Nigeria. Recall that we've been sitting at home for years now and Senator Natasha never talked about it in the Senate House. Please let's allow them to find themselves and settle within themselves, knowing fully well that constantly discussing their issue is not even helping us here in the Southeast anyway. Oh well, it's a national issue, as much as it's not affecting us here. Well, right here on the Polity, we talk about not just regional but national issues. John Chukwuemeka, he says it's unfortunate that we are facing what we are facing in the hands of self-made politicians in our country. Another borrowing in the midst of huge amount of money being received from so-called fuel subsidy. We are in a total mess. God help us. Atekios Malebara, she says, this government has succeeded in mortgaging the future of our children and those in the womb of time through excessive borrowing with absolutely nothing to show for it. Are we borrowing for consumption or production? Are we borrowing for debt servicing or frivolous spending? We are borrowing in hard currencies and we'll pay back in hard currencies. Putting our finances under pressure and the rubber stamp Senate keeps approving everything the president brings to their table. What had happened to the savings from subsidy? Why can't government cut down high cost of governance and flamboyant spending? Do we continue with this vicious cycle? So alarming and worrisome. Finally, Mazi Zubi Madueke says, the drama at the Senate House, as Natasha and security agents clash. This woman should be allowed to rest. Let them give peace a chance, for Christ's sakes. She's an elected senator and should be allowed to serve her people. Tony, the comments have come in. What do you have to say? I mean, your last take on the topics we've looked at this morning and reactions that have come in so far.
You know, there are so many comments, and one thing about our people, we get carried away with things that ordinarily should not be our problem. We have many problems. Many of us, as we are here, many of us have one challenge or the other, social challenge, and many challenges, as the case may be. And just like one of the commentators did say, people that we are doing boyfriend and girlfriend before.
Okay, no, she said they were former friends. It is a boyfriend and girlfriend.
Even I'm adding that one now.
Okay,
they were doing boyfriend and girlfriend. And when, how many of you, your relationship went sour and you hear them talking about it? They would not even care whether you have a bad relationship or not. But we are here, just like you mentioned, it's a national issue. And because institutions are involved, that's why we are adding our voice. Just like I said, somebody was saying, who will enforce the judgment? Is it police? Let me say this. Court has a way of ensuring that judgment is enforced. Do you know that a court can issue a garnishee order? Let's assume that judgment is given against police. You ask, can police enforce judgment against it? Do you know how they will be forced to enforce that judgment? Garnishee order. They have accounts. This garnishee order will be issued so that these accounts will be blocked. They cannot even access the accounts. They will be helpless until that order is away. So if court wants the National Assembly to obey this order, court can issue a garnishee order against the account of National Assembly in some money deposit banks, and they cannot access the account. They will be left with no option than to do what? Obey, and show they have obeyed. So don't ask, is it police, is it army, is it this that will come and enforce it? No, court has a way of doing its own thing. That is why I advise Natasha, go back to the court and file contempt. Akpabio did it and got something. Go and do it. You may think, I'm not Akpabio, I may not get what Akpabio did. If you are confident, because the fight you are fighting, will you win it? In fact, in the Bible, we are asked to choose our battle. The one you are going to fight is the one you are sure you are going to win. So if you do all this gara, it will end up like what Obia Ezekwel did when they were doing Bring Back Our Girls. After all their shout, drama, were the girls brought back? Aisha Yusufu, all this white she had been in the struggle. And, I mean, what has that fetched her? I'm not saying you cannot fight for your right. But then while you fight for your right, there are other things you need to do. Okay. Do it.
Well, other things you need to do from my end is to do the right thing. Yes, the Nigeria we desire, we all are a product of this system. These people leading us are no different from us if we would tell ourselves the truth. So do the right thing today going forward. My name is Chisom Chinedu. Thank you, Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a part of the show today. See you tomorrow.
There is something missing in the world today. It's the one thing that